Get closer to me, Dada.
I hate it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We good?
Puts a yeah.
Yeah. I had there's only a little bit of mead left, so I feel like I ended up with a much larger cup of mead than I needed for the amount of content we're going over.
Maybe not a little bit of mead then. That was a pretty tall glass. I was watching you pour it, and I was like, "Oh, he's still going, huh? He's still pouring that thing."
Let's see how this plays out.
Right.
It's one taller than average glass, but it would have been two much smaller than average glasses if I broke it up.
Okay.
Okay, I see where your head's
So I
at.
made my choice.
You sure made a choice. Yes, you did. Now are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, lore heads, and welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today we're talking about the Spark of Zaun, Zeri, who was released January 20th, 2022. So soon.
Right?
So recent.
So recent. Remember when we did our reaction video to her cinematic?
Oh, yeah, on her yucky toes. I do remember. Yeah. On our YouTube, we have a reaction to her cinematic.
Was that the first one that we did? It
the first one we successfully did, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good asterisk.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a real jank setup. I think we were doing it in my dining
kitchen
room.
Yeah,
with
your mixer.
Right.
Kind of one and the same.
Yeah, we made poor Sarah set everything up. We're like, we don't know how any of this shit works.
We didn't have headphone splitters, so you and I were sharing headphones.
Oh, sharing an earbud. Yeah.
How far we've come.
Now we do them here, like this.
Yeah.
Say it's much of an upgrade.
We're not sharing headphones.
That's true. We each had our own pair of
nothing
headphones
else.
now. Mm-hmm.
If you want to see, you can check out our Arcane teaser trailer season 2 reaction that we just posted on the tubes.
The tubies.
For you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on Tubi. Let's make that clear.
That's true. Oh my God,
Although we
you're
probably could get on Tubi, to be fair.
John
After some of the trailers we watched yesterday.
John and I were just looking through trailers on Tubi yesterday. I don't know why.
Are you saying we're better than that?
Yes.
Oh, there were a few that absolutely, yes, we were better than that. And that makes me want to watch the movie so very badly. Because if it looks like some film students filmed it on their digital camera 20 years ago, that's my jam.
I hate things that look like they're filmed on digital cameras by film students. I can't. There's something about it that I can't enjoy it. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I need film. I need to put to film.
So you don't like 28 Days Later? That was filmed on a digital camera.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like it.
Yes, it does. It
Also, I haven't seen
100% does.
I was going to say, I honestly haven't seen it since I think it came out. So I don't know. Maybe that.
It's great. Anyway. Zeri!
Yeah, what she got on the old universe page?
She has a bio and a short story, as expected.
Yeah. I kind of would have expected her cinematic, but I guess it goes into some in-game footage, if I remember right. So maybe they just didn't include
Even
it.
still, it's not on it's not on her wiki page either, which that's the thing I thought was weird. Yeah.
Interesting.
Huh.
Luckily, we did that reaction, so I knew it existed.
Luckily, we've got the proof.
That we've all watched.
Maybe they removed it because they watched our reaction. They're like, oh, shit. We did show her toes.
This is something about the toes.
I was just surprised she was barefoot, especially in Zaun.
Well, not barefoot. She just had exposed toes.
Okay, open-toed shoes in Zaun.
I mean,
OSHA would have a fit.
Yeah, I mean, remember, you could step in a puddle. It might be Zach, and it might melt your foot off.
Imagine Zach's in between your toes. Just imagine that goo there.
That'd be one of the most pleasant things you could step in Zaun.
Are we? Is this gonna be that episode? Where we get into?
Let's submit our feet to WikiFeet. We'll see how we do. Zeri.
Do you want to get into the?
Okay, sure. I'll do the bio. Why didn't you? We sure are doing Zeri. Anyway, Zeri, she was a not-so-normal girl in Zaun. She had magic powers. Ever since she was a baby, she seemed to have a connection to electricity. She was never able to control this, but her family was very accepting anyway. No Elsa problems. No, none of that. None of locking her in her room and making her wear gloves. Not all her neighbors were, as happy about her, occasionally, killing the power in the whole neighborhood, though. But one night, the Cambarons were digging beneath Zeri's neighborhood when the grounds collapsed in, the marketplace area. Zeri like zipped all around to save people using quite a bit of her electric powers. Everyone was really grateful, but she felt like she could have saved more people if she had more control over her magic. She also knew that she was about to draw attention from the Chem Barons, so she went through the rubble and made a jacket to constrain her abilities.
Yeah. No further information needed.
I hate this a lot. I don't know why. I like Zeri. She's fun.
Yeah.
But I hate this, like, she went into the rubble, made a coat, and now her powers are more contained.
There's a couple of beats like that in this.
That's true. There's some yada yadas for sure. Yeah, she can still use her powers, but they're not as like wildly out of control now. Zeri tried to help areas rebuild, but knew that it was like time to take the fight to the Chem Barons rather than waiting for more accidents to happen. She started like messing with them, destroying their supplies and stuff, so the Chem Barons actually made an alliance, which they never did, just to stop Zeri. So she went home, unable to fight back against like all their resources, but when she got back to her district, everyone was waiting to fight with her. Zeri's mom made her a gun. Which I love that. I really love how her family wasn't like, don't do this, Zeri, it's too dangerous, and she has to like hide it. Her mom was like, honey, here's a gun.
The bullets are you.
The bullets are your magic powers that you should shoot out to kill people. Yeah, it was sick anyway. But she's now armed with the help from her community, and Zeri is ready to kick Chem Baron booty and protect her people.
Yeah.
And that's Zeri.
Yeah.
I had a lot of thoughts about this fight.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, it's just... So it said she was raised in a large working-class family, and she was surrounded by warmth, care, and many strong opinions. I mean, whew. Does this writer know that they're writing for Zaun? This doesn't make any sense to me. Goodness? A league protagonist with family?
They're doing better about that now. You know, they're trying to give...
That's true.
Which I like. It was very Milio to me. She was like a special family member, you know.
There's also a line specifically about her magic that said magic wasn't rare in Zaun, which confused me a little bit because off the top of my head, I don't think I can think of a single magic champion in Zaun other than like Janna, who's certainly not common.
Seraphine, I guess. Well, she's Piltover's on.
Yeah, I mean, I had that exact thought. I was thinking about her. I was just walking around walking the dog, and I was like, she's kind of weird in that, like, exactly that. Every other champion I can think of is all about, you know, using
science
just
or
raw tech or their ingenuity. But she kind of stands out in that way. I don't know why they wrote it like that.
Yeah, which is also a little bit like to touch up on the coat thing a little bit too. Like she just built a coat that inhibits her own powers, which is it's very Echo-like, right? But there's no hint of any Echo-like ingenuity in like the rest of her bio or anything. It's just like she does magic. Also, she knows how to build an inhibitor thing from scrap technology. She fucking Tony Starks it in a cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought maybe it was just like rubber. Like maybe she just put a big rubber suit on. But it's pretty fancy. It's got a dial and everything.
I threw some circuits on there. I don't know if they do anything. I slapped the motherboard on it with some duct tape. But it looks cool. I don't know. You can say what you're going to say. I don't know.
No, I was going to say they tired Echo later anyway, which is a good, pairing, both of them trying to protect Zaun. It would make way more sense if he made it for her. She was just trying up until then, but she still needed a way to tamp her powers down, and when she meets up with Echo, he helps her. Or even one of her many family members that make her other things.
Her guns.
Her gun, yeah. Her mom made her gun with a lot of help from the community, and I imagine if they had come together, they could have done this. I don't know. Or at least mention that maybe Zeri's also a scientist. But she doesn't really... I don't think she is. She doesn't get that... I don't get that vibe from her. That she's like a science gal.
No.
They left it out if she is.
Yeah.
For sure. I think the idea of having it be something from that one of her other family members, crafted for her would feel kind of nice. I kind of wish we got more about her family because they make a big deal of it in the bio. But aside from like maybe a few quotes... there's not really a lot about them. It's kind of a shame because I like the idea of I like pairing her with Echo, and I think it would be kind of neat to see some of her home life because it sounds like such stark contrast to Echo's, where they both have a loving family, which is kind of nice and unique. But Echo's is like, it's him and his parents are probably asleep because they're very, very tired. Whereas like with hers,
in
I'm
a
sure
warehouse, or waiting for Zeri to rescue them.
The point is, it's quiet, right? We're at Echo's house for the most part, but in Zeri's house, I'm sure it's like, I get the sense of it being like chaos. There's always someone coming, going. People are like, there's just like just constantly people running around, like kids of all ages, right? It's electric.
Echo like being invited to dinner or something like that. Like I feel like Zeri's mom sees him and she's like, "Oh, you have to come to dinner. Come here." And then there's just all this chaos and love too, and like in a kind of a schlubby area that he would relate to. You know, it's not like they have a lot of money. You know, they all work really hard too, but. No, that would be so sweet. Yeah. I would love if it came with just like a family photo or something. Like they had drawn kind of like a family picture. Even that, because I think trying to get into all her family would obviously be hard. I think that would be really cute. And you could see a lot of personality in the family dynamics there. Yeah. Or even, even like you said, just one family member. Like we know her mom made her a gun. That's fucking dope. Tell me more about her mother.
Mom made her a gun that channels her own magic.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
it's
talent.
very like...
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing with the bio. The bio was a kind of a weird read for me, and I think a lot of the reasons are that there's a lot of these moments that feel like they kind of lurch from thing to thing without a lot of like... You know, I think, for example, the idea that she has to hide from the Kim Barons is weird to me because, you know, she saves people, and it kind of goes to this idea of like she knew the Kim Barons were going to be coming after her, and it's like why? Like because she saved some people. If she had like you could just write a few lines like she knew that she had made a splash, and the Kim Barons would want her to power for their own and wouldn't say no. You know, it's like yeah, sure, whatever, right? Or wouldn't take no for an answer.
That's what I was thinking, is that she had like used a lot. I think when she was running around saving people, her magic was like building and building, and she was using more and more of it. So I got the impression that word got out about that, but I don't know.
Maybe she just stole a lot of Kim Baron rubber to make her coat.
Maybe that. Her coat doesn't look that heavy. Could you imagine the stank in there? Seals in the flavor.
God, I want to see Soko like chewing somebody out because the rubber shipments are late this week or some shit. Right? It's like that. There's like little moments that are like, I think even that whole sequence, really, that inciting incident is kind of weird because it talks about how she's, you know, in this moment of pressure, she could really see what her powers could do, but it never kind of says what it is that her powers could do.
Yeah.
You know, it says it as if like she reaches some new like she levels up, some new power level, something that is unexpected happens because she's like put into a stressful situation. But I don't know what that actually was. Did she turn into electricity? Like, was she static shocking it? Like, you know what I mean?
It did kind of imply that there. Well, I mean, I don't know if they directly implied this or whether this was just my read on it, but like it kind of sounded like there was some sort of like flash type mirror version or something. She was like.
Oh yeah, that's another weird thing.
What?
She was during occasional outbursts where her stray current shattered a street lamp or two. Zeri thought she'd even see flashes of something or someone.
Right?
I was confused by that.
Is it supposed to be?
Did she tap into the Speed Force? What's going on?
Yeah.
Is it okay? So I know this is not like related to any of the lore pieces, but I know that they released her simultaneously with a Valorant agent or whatever that is voiced by the same voice actress and who has the same electricity powers, and just one's got a is it in reference to that? Right? Like I don't know, but this is just such a weird line that never gets any play in like the rest of the bio.
I meant to write a note when I was taking notes on the bio, but then I forgot because it doesn't freaking come up again.
Yeah.
I also thought
I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I'd love to know more about that. I did think it was interesting, again, to go back to the digging thing, where the mines collapsed and a bunch of people got hurt and everything. Zeri seemed so surprised that the Kim Barons didn't disclose the dangers of the digging. Like, is this not just their life all the time? Kim Barons just lying to them and doing dangerous shit that they know is danger?
This is maybe her first time experiencing it. She's kind of young, right?
I suppose. I will say that whole sentence stuck out to me because it read really awkwardly in how it was written, and I so much so that I actually have it up because it seems so weird to me. She knew the Kim Barons had mining facilities nearby that were installed after they'd claimed to have discovered resources better than Hextech, but what they did not reveal were the risks of their uncontrolled digging. That's a very long sentence, and it's just like, it just is very awkward in the way it was written. I don't normally get like really hard on like the actual writing, but I read it and I had to like keep rereading it. I was like, is this, because I felt like I was having almost like a little bit of a stroke when I was, you know, is it just me? Is it just like, there's something about it where I'm like,
getting that.
Yeah, I don't know. And also, what's the deal with like that they found something that's stronger, that's better than Hextech? Was that in reference to something?
Right, and why are they still using Hextech? Like,
and why are they telling people,
Zeri
hey, we found something really cool?
I feel like they were lying. They were like putting in a jacuzzi or something. But they were like, trust us, guys. We gotta dig here. We found some good shit.
Like, is that supposed to be what it is? That this was sort of their excuse so that people wouldn't get upset about their digging? I don't know. It's just you don't need that detail, I guess. You can just say that like she knew they had mining operations, but she hadn't realized how unstable they were until the street fell out from under her. You know, some shit like that. Right? That's all you need. I don't know.
I do have another wording complaint here.
Oh.
Sure.
Enraged at their losses, the local barons formed a rare alliance, and their combined power trounced Zeri wherever she went. Like, trounced Zeri wherever she... I feel like Kim barons murder and torture people, like, on the regs. What exactly does it mean that they trounced her wherever she went? It seems like maybe thwarted if she was trying to disrupt their lines and they stopped her from doing that. But trounced has a very implied, like, we fucked her up type thing.
Give her a big old Looney Tunes bump on the head.
Right? Like, it's such an odd choice of words for that. And also, like, how is she continually getting out of it if they keep trouncing her everywhere she goes? Like,
mobility, man. I don't know. This is why I like the idea that she could kind of turn into electricity or something almost. This sort of like would maybe smooth a little of that over.
Right.
Yeah,
also, and this isn't a wording thing, this is just a continuity thing. The local barons formed a rare alliance. Didn't we see in Arcane that there is in fact a very non-rare alliance that's happening at all times between the Kim barons?
That's the past, so maybe now, in this time, they no longer do such a thing.
Yeah, although this was supposed to be released as a part of the... That is true. That is a fair point.
We'll have to see in season 2. We'll revisit this after season 2 and decide whether Zeri makes still mad about it.
I think my point of frustration with it a little bit more is less so much that, but just more it feels a little like, I get the same feeling I kind of have with like maybe a little like Cassante or like Nyla, some of these new champions who come in and it's like they're so badass that the Kim Barons, who never ally with each other, have to come together to stop Zeri. And meanwhile, like Echo's over here like, huh? And Zach's like, hey, I'm still here also. Like, I also was kind of trying to do something, but I guess I don't really warrant any attention whatsoever. But Zeri, the new champion, is so kick-ass. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, I know what you're saying.
Especially given that, like, in the short story, the people in the warehouse, like the chem thugs in the warehouse, like, they don't give a shit about Zeri. She goes to interrupt them, and they're specifically like, is that Echo? Fuck. Is that Echo? Is he here?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when it's like, no, it's me, they're like, all right, I don't know who the fuck you are, so...
That felt more true
maybe if Echo
to me.
were written today. Yeah. That's a bit more like that. She's much more... Because they really harp on her being all about her community. I wish they would have found another word. I don't know. Zeri's bringing out all my negativity. I don't know what it is. But if it had been something a little more local to her, I guess they do say maybe the local barons, like maybe there's 2 or 3 that just run her corner or her block that came together. And
District.
It's like they're very small in scale. Yeah, district. Like maybe they're very small in the big scheme of the Kim Baron hierarchy. I'd be more open to that.
Yeah, that's how that works for me for sure. Is that she and Echo are in very different parts of Zaun. Yeah, and
I'm open to that. Mm-hmm. That's fine with me. What about the idea that her powers come from her emotions? That feels like something that kind of gets lost, especially in the color story. I feel like that shows up maybe once or twice, and aside from that,
I guess maybe they just mean that. I don't know. Never mind.
I feel like I missed that entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it says that like the gun. Am I wrong, or is it the bio that says that like, her mom gives her the gun. The gun's ammo was Zeri's emotions. It's like,
no, it was for lightning.
it's gonna just, yeah, right.
Like, it
Even
seems
in
like
the color.
the color. I feel like the color story makes it seem like her power is in her. Not,
Like her
not to do a
movement or
dumb
something.
turn of phrase. Yeah, her motions as opposed to her emotions.
Maybe it's a typo.
They just-
Like Michael, it's supposed to be motions.
Otherwise, it really makes it sound like she's just got like a Sentinel's weapon.
Sure. I mean, when I read it, my first thought was like, oh man, Zach's really getting hung out to dry. It's like so like I don't know, prescient or just like
true.
funny that we did Zach 2 champions ago. It's just like, hey, who else has powers fueled with emotions and is trying to save Zaun and is, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it's weird. And like you said, in the color story, it's like which I think lines up with more of her gameplay. She just has to kind of, static electricity, rub her feet on the carpet until she can get her power going.
Yeah,
which would
in the
also kind of play
cinematic.
into why in the cinematic she can't necessarily get her electricity to pop off, right? It's like, was she just not feeling it that day? Was she feeling a lot ennui? I was like, I can't really get the zaps. So it's a little disjointed. It feels a little like in my mind when I read it, it feels a little like there were these kind of big highlights or bullet points they wanted to hit with Zeri, but maybe some of the detail work got a little like lost in the shuffle almost. I know she was delayed, and I
I was
wonder.
gonna say, it makes sense given the delay she had.
Yeah, maybe it was just like I don't know. Maybe or that, or maybe I mean I know her kid is like a massive balancing nightmare. Maybe she was really I don't know if you have fun facts about her development. Maybe they were kind of back and forth on how she was going to be exactly up till the last minute, and that's
I
very
can
hard
see
to write
that.
for. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do have some fun facts on some scrapped abilities, but not actually, I don't know if I kept those in because I didn't know her ability names well enough for them to mean anything to me. But
That's fair. You know 2 of them.
that's
If you remember the short story, I suppose.
electricity,
Yeah.
Nope.
shock,
AC/DC.
shock. I will say my last complaint about this.
Okay.
She initially didn't want to fight back against the Barons because she said that they would go through anyone to get to her. Right? That was like a big concern she had.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when she ended up fighting them, and then her community stood behind her, she said she thought she'd lose them in her efforts to fight back, but because she stood up for them, they stood up with her. And nothing has changed, right? You may still lose them. Them standing up with you is cool and all, but the Chembarons very much will still go through anyone to get to you. That danger has not gone away.
But now they're in
And
it.
they don't
Yeah.
have superpowers like you do.
I do agree. I wish maybe it was written like that. She kind of came to accept that they're their own. I don't know how you would write this in the bio. You just have to find a more poetic way of expressing it. But that they're their own people and they can make their own decisions and put themselves at risk. And they know the risk and they're signing up for it. And she's accepted that. I'm open more to that.
It's not her job to rescue everyone, just the ones who didn't choose this life.
Some shit like that. Yeah, I'd be open. I'd be more open to that. I don't know. I think with Zeri, what I kind of want more from her, I'll say, is I understand her external conflicts pretty well. I wish I had more of a sense of what she's kind of grappling with as a character a little bit, because it
Yeah.
makes some kind of lip service to she needs to learn patience, or she needs to learn some sort of discipline or control or something like that. But none of it ever feels like it's a strong thrust for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It comes up once, I feel in the short story, and that's kind of it.
I'll say twice. I think there are 2 instances of it in the short story, but they're both pretty minor. And again, the short story is mostly a low color action story, so it's not like there's big ramifications for a lot of things.
Yeah,
Just
I
not his fault.
definitely. Looking at Zeri and knowing what I knew about her before we read the lore, I felt like she was gonna have way more of a personality, I guess. And maybe she does in her
Yeah.
quotes. I think it might be in her quotes. But as far as
I
her,
don't
no,
think so.
her bio and her short stories, I couldn't tell you what Zeri's like as a person.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where like describe a champion without
Saying what they look like,
what they
yeah.
look like or what their powers are. Like
It would be hard.
For sure.
I would just
Yeah,
have to
I
say
agree.
community over and over again.
Yeah, like she's loving
Yeah.
and empathetic, right? She cares about people, but that's so generic for like a hero, right?
I think that's what it is. And then her quotes are a lot like that, or a lot of,
yeah.
you know, every mistake is a lesson learned. You know, I got to fight for everybody. Well, we can do it. You know, it's like, oh no, man. There's little like moments or hands. Like I like some of the comedy and the color story of her like having to run in place so that she can get her power going, and almost having to be like, okay, wait 1 second, hold on.
Yeah.
That's a funny little bit.
Yeah, that was fun. I
don't know.
Is she dancing?
Gosh. And like the bio calls her family's think of her as a lovely or like a hot mess? What I want to say she was a
Lovable
hot
mess.
mess, but lovable mess. I was like, they mean hot mess, but they couldn't say that. And I like that idea that she's a lovable mess, but it's not shown at all in what we get.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I don't want to rag too hard on it. I like you had
Too
said
late.
it earlier, Rebecca. I like the right. I know. Where are we? Where the fuck do I think we are? Right. You had said earlier. I did like that her family being totally accepting and like into and supportive of what she's doing, and her coming back and expecting the worst maybe, and instead everyone's like rallying around her and like, oh, like here's a gun to help you out, you know, like things like that are kind of sweet. So that's why like spending time with them would probably really do a lot for her.
Yeah,
I think.
for sure.
Reminded me a lot of like Spider-Man losing his mask on the subway, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Sure, yeah, careful, she's a hero. Yeah, something like that, you know. I don't know. Anyway, do you want to dive into the color story? We talked around it a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure. So it's called The Unexpected Spark. This one's also by Michael Luo. And it kind of opens with Zeri just doing her general do-gooder stuff, right? She's trying to give this shopkeep some like parts, and he's like, "Oh, Zeri, no, you're so generous. Everybody loves you, Zeri. I can't take this." And she's like, "No, you gotta take it. Get your kids some bananas." And as she's having this interaction, there's this little Zaun kid who's running away from some Kim Baron thugs, and she kind of helps him kind of brush off to the side to escape, and then sort of confronts the thugs. Like we mentioned, there's this moment where, you know, they're kind of asking her if she's seen the kid, and she's like, "Well, don't worry about it, 'cause I'm gonna kick your ass," and then starts kind of running in place so she can get her powers together. And the thugs are like, but she zaps them. The kid's name is it Timmy?
Timmick.
Timmick. That was pretty close.
It was the Zaun version of Timmy.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a combination of Timmy, but also sick. Timmy.
That's what they should call him, the Christmas Carol, for sure.
Timmick is asking for more help because he needs help freeing his parents. They've been taken by somebody, so Zeri's gonna go check it out. And she sneaks into this warehouse, and indeed there are a bunch of people who are being held at not gunpoint, some weapon point, and they're being forced to make
Spear point,
guns.
they said?
Spear point, yeah.
Tech spear point.
They've got tridents and stuff, and they're like, right, like. They're being forced to make weapons, and I think we said this when we did like Renata. They have a terrible process because they make a gun, and then the leader of the guards tests the gun, and if the gun doesn't work, which so far they all don't, he smashes it. It's really hard to iterate on your design when they break the thing. That's why I delete everything whenever I make a build of something and it doesn't work. I just delete my whole main root folder. Anyway. So she's sneaking in. She kind of accidentally reveals herself, and like John said, the guards are like, "Oh, is that him? The one with the hourglass painted on his face?" And the captain's like, "Well, no, she's not him. So kill her." I don't know. They fight. she manages to blast open the warehouse, and the hostages escape. Although one of them, a woman, is sort of asking like, "Oh, have you seen my son?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, Timmick's fine." It's like, "No, I'm not Timmick's mom. I'm looking for some other kid, dude."
I don't give a fuck about that kid.
Who?
Kid's a dick. I hate him.
I hope his sick ass goes. But
He left us all here.
but the hostages escape. She kills off. She kills off almost all of the guards, and even the I don't know, she uses her cool ultimate on the captain. At some point, she throws her jacket off so she can unleash her power. She's like Goku taking off the weighted clothing.
Oh, she also shouts out the ability's name when she does it in the story.
She does do that shit. Yeah, it's very anime in that way. But she frees everyone, and as she's bruised and battered from the fight, but she wins. And as she's coming back home, she runs into Echo, and Echo, sort of like, "Hey, why'd you help those people?" And she's like, "Because helping people's like super good, and that's what I do." And so he's like, "We should team up."
Right? Fucking Nick Fury recruits her.
Yeah,
He does, yeah.
And Zeri will return in
Something, probably.
Zaun, something maybe sometime. So that's kind of where it ends. And I think we had. I don't know if it ever says it explicitly in here, but we're pretty sure these guys were working under Renata, right? That was kind of a.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
that makes
Is that
the
true?
most sense. Yeah.
I feel like that's why we talked about it in the Renata episode.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think
they mentioned their Chem Baroness.
Yeah, they mentioned the
Yeah, that's what it was.
And
There's not a ton of those.
She's the only one.
Breaking
There
glass
have been others,
ceilings,
but-
you know?
Glass.
Glass.
hey.
Shit, man, you're firing him out today.
Seeing if this is in the past, then she probably. Oh no, Arcane is in the past. I forgot. I was gonna
yeah.
say there were a lot of other female Chem Barons in Arcane that I guess now paves the way for Glass. It wasn't canon at that point. I'll forgive him this one.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think there's more than one Chem Baroness. We were just joshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just memeing.
Just memeing. You know how we do.
But yeah, that's it.
Here's a really big yada 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 that I wanted more information about. We mentioned she was trying to pay the shopkeeper for goods. I said, "I can't accept this," the shopkeeper said, pushing Zeri's change back at her. "It's just spare parts. You've done too much to help since the mist." I want to know what she did at the mist. Tell us about the mist. Is her magic good enough to kill the monsters? I need to know.
Probably not. Or maybe because you said it almost kind of echoes like Sentinel weapons. Maybe she, you know what? That would almost be in line with how Zeri's written that. For some
She's
reason,
the one
her
who
cool
could defeat the
emotion
mi-
magic. Yeah.
I did not realize what mist they were talking about. I'm so dumb. I was like, what the fuck is the mist?
I mean, to be fair, they're in Zaun.
It took me a
Yeah.
minute.
There's a lot of mists
I
it could
figured
be.
it was some other chemical explosion.
The only reason I didn't think so was because it was capitalized.
It's fair.
That's true. I would love that they got a little chart. Okay, which mist is this? Oh, this is the Shadow Isles mist. Oh, this sucks.
This is the mist we spell with Y's. That's the one the chemists make.
The alchemist.
The alchemist. The mist. Yeah. Yeah, it's that could have been like a good way of kind of something you could have done with the story would be it as a segue of like showing Zaun a bit post Rise of the Sentinels.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't mind this story. This is a lot more like what I just expect, kind of boilerplate color story action piece a little bit. I did say there were a couple instances where her like I don't know, lack of control or discipline sort of play. Like you see an instance early when she's fighting that first set of thugs. She accidentally fries like some banner or overhang for like the shopkeep. Like she accidentally kind of blows it up. And then later on when she's sneaking in, this was the one that frustrated me a bit. She's sneaking in and she sees what they're doing and she like gets so mad that she sort of like forgets what she's doing and where she is and like punches a grate and the grate then falls open and she falls into the whole thing. It's just like, man, she really like
That's
focus,
the next
Zeri.
level.
I was so perplexed by that. Just very confused.
Well, otherwise, how else are you going to have her start the action piece? She can't just
That's
like...
what I was thinking. I was like, they just wanted her to fall through and into the middle of this room.
Which you could have just had happen. I mean, it's Zaun. The place is janky.
Right.
You know, she steps into a grate and it just boom, right?
Mm-hmm. With her open-toed shoes.
It's
She's
necessary for the electricity.
She's scraping up those piggies.
I did think it was interesting.
The black lanes. I don't know. There's some joke there. You write it. I can't figure it out.
Don't give me homework, Mark.
This little piggy's
It's for
part
the
of the
audience.
spark
Fill
kit.
it in. Yeah, right. What does she call her thing, by the way? She calls it like a spark.
The thing on her rubber
Plug.
jacket.
I have this
Spark
written down
plug.
somewhere.
A spark. Yeah, I wish I had written it down. It doesn't really matter, but just for
Maybe
the
it should be
edification of the
called a
audience.
surge protector.
Right.
Right? Whatever. She has a name for for the thing in her jacket. That's all I'll say.
I found it interesting that the chem thugs down here are using Hextech spears. I feel like that's not something we see a lot in any other...
I don't get. There are guns.
I mean,
in this
there are
world.
guns, and there's a lot of, like, chem tech shit
too.
that, like, the chem barons thugs specifically use. Especially if they're Renata's thugs. Like, it's kind of implied. That's kind of their whole thing. I'm a little surprised. And spears of everything else? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like on the spear front, we could like really get into the nitty gritty of why does anyone not use a gun in Runeterra?
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
Who knows? That's
Maybe
a
if
little
they made it like
wishy-washy.
Jace's hammer, then they are also guns.
You know, I kind of wish that they went into it's a detail that could be kind of neat if it was something that she kind of noticed more and was something that kind of was supposed to hint to us that these aren't just any old thugs. They're using this way better set of weaponry than normal Kim Baron thugs do. It might help kind of tie into like, oh, this isn't any old Kim Baroness. This is Renata, the one of all the Kim Barons and Baronesses, she's probably the one with maybe the most hex tech access because she rubs elbows up in Piltover more than anybody, you know. And maybe if there were a couple moments of the Kim thugs doing, or like there's like a captain, there's like a mini boss that she kind of fights, right? Of like that mini boss doing something unexpected and cool that like really throws her off, you know. It's like the spear forms into like 3, you know, machine guns or some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Who knows?
Yeah. I feel like that the captain too is kind of one thing that annoyed me a little bit about the piece. So at one point when she's freeing the captives there, the thugs are kind of going after the captives, and in order to draw their attention back to her, she's like, hey, you know, when your boss hears about what I did here, she's gonna be really upset if you don't kill me here or something like that. So then the thugs are like, yeah, you know what, she's probably right. So they ignore the captives and go after her. Now, at the very end of this, after she's kind of beaten most of the thugs except for the captain does this big old blast on her, and she's kind of hiding behind, I guess, like a big metal tube at this point. And it said that the blast flung her and her cover into a wall, and Zeri's vision turned black. When her eyes opened, the captain was gone. But, like, why, though? Like, the captain just fucking left? Like, Zeri's not wrong. Like, your boss is gonna want to know why the fuck you don't have the head of the person who freed all of the people that were trying to build guns for you, and you literally had her. You blasted her. She was unconscious.
Didn't know, maybe. You know, he made that blast happen. He's like, I can only do this once. I got to get the hell out of here.
See, it's funny. I kind of intuited from that, or just assumed maybe that is like something that Echo maybe had a hand in, right? And that's like he shows up at the end. I think that probably needs to be established more clearly because I feel like the way it's written, I don't remember exactly, is that she then leaves and is some distance away from the whole situation before Echo shows up.
Yeah.
You know, maybe having her come to and I don't know, like you could have had things just written a little more interesting, right? Where like maybe she comes to and she sees the captain there and it seems like he's fighting this guy, and then she like, I don't know, maybe she can see through Echo's time thing just a little bit and kind of blinks, and then they're back in like a different part of the fight, you know, and then we kind of get an explanation for what happened. Because I completely agree. It's weird that the captain assumed like, well, that's probably job done, right? I don't know.
No need to double tap this.
Right? Yeah. So that's kind of my assumption. Like I said, there's nothing really in the text I can think of to support it. So I want to make that I want to make that clear. Yeah. The captain does have a kind of a cool weapon. I forgot about that. It's got like a big Hextech like hand cannon. Not even hand cannon, but like, you know, like two-hander like cannon thing, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's not a spear, I guess is like what I'm saying.
Anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about this story, and on the subject of like trying to introduce her family, I thought this could have been a lot more fun to start off in her house, right? And just get a sense of what her home life is like and the relationships. Because she mentions her grandma. She mentions her grandma both in this story and in some of her quotes. Like she mentions her aunt in one of her quotes, and she talks like she makes mention of her mom's workshop, and seeing a few of those people depicted, you know, and then she like goes out into Zaun just to go a night out, like just to get out into the night, you know. Could have been a nice like quieter moment for however quiet her house is, you know, relatively, and then get into an action piece later on in the story.
Would have been nice.
Yeah.
What could have been?
Yeah. Well, it's okay. I guess Timmick is happy. His parents. Oh, and I guess I forgot to mention Echo's parents, and we had said it before, were included in those hostages, and that was the one who had been asking about, assumedly the one who had been asking about the other kid, right? So.
Are they the same age, you think, Echo and Zeri?
They're probably close.
Yeah, I assume
probably
so.
close. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And we did mention there's a cinematic, which is, I mean, it's not very long. It's just kind of her fighting some thugs using her little charge up power bit.
Charge up power bit. Do you think she yells that when she does it?
Hopefully.
Be nice.
There was one quote here that was interesting. She has a quote that says, "I belong here. We all belong here," which was included in Zeri's script by Michael Luo as a response to an article on a Filipino targeted hate crime, where the attacker said, "You don't belong here." And you mentioned there's another champion in Valorant who is kind of the mirror of Zeri, and she also has this voice line.
Oh. That's pretty cool.
You want to hear about some AUs?
I do.
Sure, yeah. I'm not really familiar with her skins.
Yeah.
First up, we got Crystal Rose, Withered Rose. The Crystal Rose Festival welcomes all who believe in its dream of a peaceful tomorrow, though many have grown disenchanted with the whole affair. Those who make up the Withered Rose wish to see it come to an end, but no one is immune to the festival's charm. Perhaps they too will be swept away by the evening's beauty and have a change of heart. This one's Withered Rose Zeri. Zeri's not one for the backstabbing schemes at the Festival of the Crystal Rose. She'd rather take action than formulate some complicated plan, and that's why partygoers will never suspect that this year she's got one. Crash the party in the name of the rejects! No one, not even a dashing would-be rival, will see her coming.
Oh, a dashing would-be rival.
Who's that? You'll have to wait for the Crystal Rose Withered Rose episode to find out.
Okay.
Then we've got Sun-Kissed Summer, Ocean Song. Nothing exudes the beach vibes and cool tunes lifestyle more than the Ocean Song Festival. From Seraphine's mellow songs to Yone's experimental DJ set, there's a vibe for everyone. So feel the sand between your toes, taste the salty air, and lose yourself to the best music of the summer. I know someone who's feeling the sand between their toes. Ocean Song Zeri.
She's wearing closed-toe shoes in this.
On the beach?
Yes.
What a psycho.
They might be boots, even.
An up-and-coming water tamer from the southwest, Zeri is diving into the Ocean Song Festival head first. This is her first time handling a stage on her own, and she may have gone a little overboard with her showstopper plans in order to give herself a calling card. Everybody loves a little overstimulation, right? Then we have Immortal Journey. Long ago, in an ancient land, many souls gathered beneath the gods to test the limits of their power. Foolish and arrogant, brave and just, their journeys are written into the immortal pages of history. This is Immortal Journey Zeri. Orphaned as a baby, there we go.
There it is. There's Zeri.
Zeri was taken in by a family of inventors who cultivated her tinkering tendencies. Their love ignited a deep desire to help others over herself, and because of her prodigious talents, her family paid her admissions to the Tempered Faith School. A student full of dreams and curiosity, Zeri will use immortality to help everyone she can.
Okay.
And then finally, we have Lunar Extravaganza. Now, this is a Wild Rift, not just skin, but there was a in-client event that specifically followed Zeri on this one.
Okay.
It followed Zeri as she basically learns the importance of the lantern lighting ceremony. So apparently back in the day, nights were longer and demons were everywhere, until the dragon appeared, breathing blazing flames and lighting everything up. And that's how dawn came to be, which is why at the Lunar Extravaganza, the whole city waits for the sun to rise at the next day of the festival. At least that's how the mortals remember it. So you see, in this world, there are also people who are blessed with the dragon's flame, who are known as the Lamplighters, and Thresh is one of them.
Of course.
And there are also people who are kind of remnants of the Evernight demon that was kind of sealed away, and Zyra is one of those. And both of them kind of have their duties to perform. Thresh kind of gets to come out once a year on the festival day and hang out in the night with everyone until the dawn comes, and then he has to go again. Zyra just kind of seems like she's there. I don't know exactly what her deal is, but
I feel like that's going to be her actual lore, too.
right.
Cyrus there. I don't know.
Zyra's here too.
She makes plants or something. She's got big old
For
boobies.
975 RP.
So Thresh brings a giant lantern to the festival and kind of recruits.
Of course he does.
Yeah, he does. he recruits Zeri and Graves to like get a bunch of shit for him to help fill the lantern up and set it up and everything like that. But basically, they don't know this, but there's a demon sealed in this lantern. In fact, it's the demon.
The demon.
The Evernight demon, Aatrox.
Of course.
Is sealed within this lantern, and through the work that Zeri and Graves do inadvertently, Thresh's plan is to kind of free him for a little bit during the festival. So he's kind of pissed that he only gets to come out one day a year, and like the rest of the days of the year he's working, which like, fair, man. I get it. So his plan is to release just a little bit of the Evernight's power so that it stays nighttime, because as long as it's nighttime, he can chill there at the festival. So he's like, and I think that's probably Zeri's deal too, because now that I'm thinking about it, when he's talking to Zeri, he's like, you and I can like hang out, you know, until we feel like going back, and then we can shut the lantern down. We'll be fine. Because this is just like the Evernight demon is real strong, but in this sealed lantern form, he's super weak, so they're not worried about it. But
I'm sure nothing will go wrong.
Whoops. Miscalculation from those two, though.
Whoops, all dragon.
Aatrox is just like, boom, fucking busts out. He doesn't suspect anything at first. He's like, oh, Thresh, you know, and Zyra, one of the aspects of myself and the dragon. He's kind of cool with the dragon, it seems. Like, it doesn't actually seem like they're enemies. It seems like they both know their place. But he's like, cool, what are you guys up to? He's like, we're going to use your power. And he's like, oh, well, fuck right off. And he busts out of the lantern and sucks up all the lights in the town. And this actually kind of leads to the cinematic for this AU, but it's also part of the event thing. Zeri ends up fighting Aatrox. She shoots a bunch of blasts at him, which he just shrugs off and just bats her away because he's real strong. So then she charges up some super blasts and shoots them, which he deflects. But the deflected blasts hit the dragon shrine in the middle of the city, which awakens the dragon, who comes and it doesn't seem like he seals Aatrox. It seems like he just kind of calms him down at the end of the cinematic. Everyone's just kind of happy. Yeah. So that's the end of the cinematic. Aatrox is still there. He's just not stealing light anymore. The
he's
light's
blazing
back.
it instead.
Yeah, he's fucking chilling, man.
Hit this light. It's kind of interesting. I will say what you've described is kind of neat. I like Thresh as maybe a little selfish and playing with fire, but not being
pure
evil or anything.
Yeah.
You want to hear about some fun facts?
Yeah, I want to hear your fun
Yeah, for
facts.
sure.
So,
What about Zeri's judgment, though?
Oh, yeah.
If only.
Sorry, we were judging Zeri this whole episode, so we don't need that. So fun facts, and Mark touched on this a little bit, but Zeri was co-developed with the Valorant team and released as a cross-game promotion with Agent Neon. Both characters share the same voice actor, Vanille Velasquez, hairstyle, and are themed around electricity. They also share a patch on their face resembling positive and negative electric charges, with Zeri having the plus-shaped patch and Neon having the minus-shaped patch. Which is also a reference to their personalities, because Zeri is much more positive and cheerful, and Neon is much less so. And this is more of a fun fact for Mark and Rebecca, but Ryan Cousart was the one who designed Neon. And if you watch our highlight reel of us playing Valorant, he also designed Gecko and KO, both of whom I played exclusively during our matches.
And very well.
My man. That makes me feel all good inside,
right?
man. That's
Good
great.
for you, Ryan. We're proud of you, buddy.
Kick
was
fucking
on
ass,
their,
dude.
We worked with Ryan.
Yeah.
Good
Did he
fucking
one on
guy,
your
man.
Riot Rumble team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan was my ADC
Yeah.
on our Riot Rumble team.
He would always try to convince John to just go into the most atrociously bad plays, I feel like, is what Ryan tried to do.
I remember
which I'm great for.
No, I think
I'll
that
follow
was-
you into anything.
Yeah, I think that was helpful for you.
Yeah, I remember certain quirky W's into dragon pits and then flashing back at.
That's the one thing that just popped into my mind too. And using a quirky W just to get up to top lane faster to join into a gank and then dying immediately because they didn't have W up.
Corky was community character.
If they didn't want you to use it, they wouldn't have given it to you. You know what I mean?
You got to get to that team fight ASAP.
Right?
Man.
Well, congrats, Ryan.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Sorry we're so bad at Valorant.
I tried to make you actually, for the record, I had no idea that I knew that Ryan had developed Neon. I had no idea he did Gecko and KO. It was just chance that those
just
happened.
resonated with them.
Right?
You felt your old AD carry, pal.
I was gonna say your designs are exactly the champions that I want to play in Valorant, Ryan. So hell yeah. So Zeri is inspired by Filipino culture, and Zeri not having access to her electric powers at all times was a kind of a touch to the brownouts that the Philippines were having. So Zeri and Renata Glask were both created as Zaun champions, as they were originally planned to ship with the Riot X Arcane event, but were both delayed. I do actually have some scrapped Zeri abilities here. I'm gonna list their names as if I know what the fuck they are.
Sure.
I don't. So originally there was a version of Living Battery that increases shields she receives. Oh.
What's triggered about that is that I know you don't fucking know what living battery is or what it does.
No, not even a little
It's
bit.
like you're trying to have enthusiasm. Like, oh, that would have been ridiculous.
Can you imagine?
if that ability also did this?
There was a version of Ultra Shock Laser that was on a 5-second cooldown, and it casted like burst fire, guys.
What?
Yeah, because we don't know what the cooldown of that is now. And that's a much more reasonable number than it is now. That number that it is.
And finally, there's a version of Lightning Crash, which I think that is her alt. I think, right?
Yeah. I
Whoa,
think so.
look at this Zeri main over here.
Well, you know.
I've read a color story or two, you know.
That gave her 150% bonus movement speed, which she would not lose until she took damage.
Oh my Christ.
Okay, that's kind of fucking nuts.
We did mention this, but Zeri's gun does not have a trigger or magazine. Her mother designed it to be powered by her electricity.
Mm-hmm.
When Zeri and Echo are on the same team, they gain a buff named Zaunite Ingenuity, which reads, "Kids from the Undercity stick together."
Oh.
Zeri's splash was actually different upon release.
They covered them toes.
They did not.
It was only her toes.
It's just, yeah.
She was wearing boots originally.
God, why'd they cut off the top of the boot?
After a few days, it was edited to show a darker skin tone, smaller and more detailed eyes, and then, a few other changes. She had kind of more anime-like eyes on initial release.
Interesting.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And she is the only champion in the game with 0 points at a skill by the client classification. If you look at how the client classifies champions in terms of difficulty or utility or burst, she has 0 for utility rating.
Oh, so
Interesting.
I'm so confused. She has no utility?
She has no utility.
I'm trying to think if there's anyone else who I would consider as having no utility. That's an interesting question. I don't think about champions.
What's counted as utility?
I said slows, stuns,
That's what I
things
thought. Yeah,
pull,
CC.
some CC broadly. Yeah, things like that. Or something that could affect teammates in some way, like give your team a heal or
shields
shield or
and stuff.
speed.
Huh.
What about...
I thought that big laser slowed or something. No? I haven't played against Zeri a lot, and I always die, and I'm just like, how did that happen?
I played against one the other day, and I died.
And you were like, how did that happen?
But, yeah.
All right, well.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that was Zeri.
That's Zeri.
Any final thoughts?
I'd like to see her and Echo get progress. I mean, who knows what the fuck's going to happen with Arcane? That's a big question mark in the whole
I'd
thing.
love to see Zeri and Arcane.
It would be, I think she would fit well into Arcane.
Yeah, maybe she would work better on the silver screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think she would play a massive role, but I could see her as being someone in Echo's team, someone on his team, I don't know.
That'd be neat.
Especially now that we know that they're rewriting Arcane champion bios to line up more with Arcane. Echo's parents may not be here anymmer. He might need a nice adopted family.
Honestly, as much as
yet.
I'm not the biggest fan of it, that could feel like it could work. I will say, also, I don't know if they're going to keep the deal with her powers being related to emotions, but if they do, let's get Zach in the mix, because he's got something similar going on, and those two could vibe on that level. Them two and Seraphine, all three of them can sit there and just have an emotion fest together. I don't know. You know what I mean?
There's a surprising amount of Zaunite adjacent champions with powers based on emotions for how negative so many emotions are in Zaun.
It's very true.
I kind of like it. Yeah, I don't know.
I like these heroes in Zaun thing. I feel like we've gotten a lot of them at once. And it's a lot of fun, but they aren't really all working separately for me. So I am liking the idea of smushing them together a little bit. We got Zeri, we got Echo. They're paired off now. Just glue them together with Zach.
Yep, there it is.
Goth like Zaun is very Gotham.
Yes.
Right now. It's got
I was
a bunch
thinking
of villains. It's got a bunch
Yeah.
of separate heroes. We need to make.
Does Gotham have a lot of heroes? I guess so. I don't know much about Batman except for Batman Forever with Jim Carrey. 'Cause it's my
And
favorite one.
there are 3 heroes just
I was
in
gonna say
that
there's
one.
3 heroes in that one.
Oh shit, you're right. I was thinking almost just like New York City and Marvel, right? Like there's so many superheroes that cover like, I don't know, 10 blocks on New York in New York City for some reason. But
Yeah.
anyway.
All of the Defenders just hanging out in fucking Hell's Kitchen adjacent areas.
They need like their own secret hideout. Echo, Zeri, and Zach, and it has sewers grates all over it, so Zach can mush in all the time wherever he's coming from.
Yeah.
Which they have. We saw in Arcane. Echo's
Yeah, Echo's got a little
Exactly.
Echo
secret
flies
hideout.
out of these giant pipes. You got to move a giant pipe to even get into his tree area.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Somehow nobody
I really
sees
like
the
it.
giant tree when flying above in Zeppelins. We're not going to think about that too much.
Fine. Yeah, it's okay.
Well, don't worry about it.
Well, anyway, that was Zeri. Thank you so much for listening. We have a Twitch, twitch.tv/loreheads. We are about a month-ish out from Zyra. And we will absolutely be streaming that live on Twitch. Obviously, it's going to go up on Spotify as normal as well. But yeah, if you kind of want to hang with us and you have questions, we're not going to have a lot to talk about with Zyra. So
You heard
Lots
about
of
how
time
she's
to field
hanging
questions.
out. She's standing around in some.
she's she'll have a
AU.
lot of skins, I guess. That's fair. But yeah, that's not a lot of lore. I'm sure there will be champagne and rants and emotions,
Laughs and tears.
laughs and tears. She's my
Anger
main,
and-
so I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dress like Zyra. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to dress like Zyra.
Oh,
Put-
dress like.
glue some leaves to my head. Done. Anyway, we also stream on Twitch. Twitch.tv/loreheads. John does Saturdays. He does TFT and ARMs with viewers. And I generally do Fridays. We play some Rift games together. And I try to do Tuesdays. But it's been a rough couple weeks, everybody.
But she'll be doing next Tuesday.
Well, I mean, we'll see.
Writing sprints, baby.
John's signing me up for things.
Writing a lot of checks over there.
We also have a YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces. We'll put the VOD for the live Zyra stream on there, I'm sure, as well, if you miss it. And things like that. Our reaction to Arcane Season 2 trailer is up there. We go frame by frame. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a long one because
Yeah.
we put the time in for you. It was for us.
It was definitely for us.
Man.
We have a Discord. You want to hang out, find some people to play a league with, post weird memes, please join our Discord. And we have a Patreon. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons, King of Hearts and Mr. Dead. If y'all were captured in a warehouse and being held by chemtech thugs wielding hextech weaponry, I would bust straight through the front door.
Ooh.
I wouldn't even sneak around. I would free your ass and be like, get fucked, chemtech punks.
Damn, John's the newest hero in Zaun.
Yeah, I don't have
Pretty
any
aggressive.
powers, but like I yell a lot, and that intimidates
In that voice?
people. So yeah, why is that not a good?
It's too
not a good
intimidating.
intimidating voice? All right, we'll workshop it.
I say you do your
You're gonna scare the
Heimerdinger
patrons
impression.
off. You do it from around the corner. They're like, "Oh, Heimerdinger's here! Quick!" Everyone look busy.
Scatter.
Jesus, it's the dinger.
Cheese it. It's the dinger. I love it. Anyway, please be sure to join us next week, everybody, as we stay in this area and talk about the explosives expert, Ziggs.